So if you don't know what happened in Virginia, basically the Democrats lost bad in a state that Biden won in last year in the presidential election. So it's why did that happen? Basically because the Republicans just talked about critical race theory, which is a bogus conspiracy theory that schools want to teach you about how bad white people are, etc., etc. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Obviously, it's bullshit. It doesn't exist. But the Republicans managed to convince a lot of white people that it does exist. And there's a lot of libs who are basically saying, fuck white women, fuck white people, especially white women, because they're the reason that the Dems lost. They're the reasons that the Republicans won. Because they voted for the Republicans, they fell for the racism, blah, 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 blah. But this is just completely removed from any sort of real material analysis, and I'll explain why. It's all about class. Saying that it's all about class, this is real intersectionalism, by the way. Acknowledging the material origin of race, of why race exists, is crucial to understanding things like this, rather than just saying they're all just irredeemable racists. They're irredeemable because they're Americans, not racists. So we have this fella who's citing NBC exit polls, white women who were like the decisive population that voted for the Republican in this case. Among white women college grads, last year 58% voted for Biden, while this year 62% voted for the Democratic candidate for governor. So among educated white women who are presumably of a higher social class, because in order to get college education, especially in the US, people overwhelmingly come from middle to upper class backgrounds. It's impossible if you're working class. Well, not impossible, but much more difficult. So far less college educated white women are going to be of the working class. But white women who are not college educated went on a massive, almost 20% increase voting for the Republicans from last year. Why? Why did that happen? Very simple. And it's grounded in materialism in the end. One, way back in the day, white people stole indigenous lands and enslaved black people. This concentrated capital into overwhelmingly the hands of white people. Okay? A situation that still exists today. The biggest capitalists who have the power to disseminate their narrative through media companies that in many cases they own, or if they don't, through influencing, they formed this great, manipulative theory called critical race theory, which is a great scapegoat for everything that's bad in the world. And they're able to do that because of the material power that they have over capital, thanks to history. Thanks to history in which white people were considered a special class of people, and non-white people were considered not a special class of people who were denied tons of basic rights and whose land was stolen, who were enslaved, etc. Those people were able to spread this ridiculous CRT, critical race theory, conspiracy theory, and manipulate lower class, working class, white voters who are vulnerable to this sort of thing, not because they are less intelligent innately, but because they are less educated due to their class position. Clearly, from that image, we can see that the narrative did not work at all on white women college graduates. In fact, they voted more for the Democrats because they have the education that is needed to be much more able to see through these sorts of bullshit narratives, thanks to their class position mostly, on average. While non-college graduates do not have that sort of education. So the solution to this is not to say, fuck white people, fuck these irredeemable whites. It's to say, we really need to get out there and educate working class white people on why this shit is bullshit, so that they can see through these sort of manipulative race-based hysteria campaigns and start advocating for the political interests of themselves and other working class people of all races. That's the solution here. But yes, you should still be anti-Italian, absolutely. Anti-Italianism is based in material reality. Yep. Anyway, that's my take on the stupid Virginia US election.